I've totted everything up, and I think that in 2025 I may or may not have made around 47 items of knitting and crochet thingies. It's quite a lot, isn't it? But I am talking small, all the way up to garments and everything in between. So I would love to go through every single item one by one in this one video. But 2 reasons I'm not going to do that. 1, it would take ages, and 2, I've talked about lots of them already. So either I will like show them and just swiftly go over them in a matter of seconds, or we'll just see where the wind takes me, because I've got no idea right now. I will fly by the seat of my pants and just see how things go. But from me and my newly painted eyebrows, welcome to Zeens and Roger. This is a crochet YouTube channel, and I stop by every now and again to talk about the things that I've made, the designs I'm working on, and what other shenanigans that I'm up to. So grab yourself a drink, grab yourself some crochet, knitting, whatever, and we'll get stuck in. Before we do, let me introduce myself. My name is Rosina, and I am a crochet designer, and I live in the southwest of the UK. I don't know why I'm laughing. I think it's because I think in my brain I'm messing it up, but actually I should just carry on talking. Nails are bare, so there is a very high possibility that I might stop halfway through my chat to paint them. And I say that because I think on the last video I published, I got told off in a comment for painting my nails whilst I chatted about crochet. Didn't realise it was offensive, didn't realise it was rude, whatever. I totally would, in rebellion, do it right now, but I can't because there's no nail polish around in the vicinity. So unfortunately I wasn't that prepared to get some waiting. So let's just talk about the crochet. I've got here a stack of garments, so I've split this into garments and then accessories, just because of the way I had to tidy everything together when I gathered all the things that I could find. And it was just easier to dump everything in a jumper pile, and then everything in what's not a jumper pile, and bring it all upstairs into this tiny little room. A couple of these things may be considered sort of cheat finishes because I didn't necessarily start them in 2025, as in the Strata Cardigan, which is by fave. I am saying that this is my first finished object of 2025 though, because literally I finished it a year ago at the beginning of January last year. It sort of doesn't make up for the fact that actually the whole entirety of the year before I'd been slowly working on it as a kind of background part-time project in between design work and commissions and whatnot. This was a very much just for me project. I'm torn quite often because I want to use lots and lots of time to do design works and get everything that's in my brain worked up into a yarn, fabric, something, like whether or not that idea is a hat, a scarf, a jumper, or what have you. There are times when you can't just do that all the time, and you need to have like a little bit of me time. The Strata Cardigan was that. It's made with a worsted weight yarn, Yarnadelic from John Albin Textiles. I got the yarn for Christmas it must have been not last Christmas, but the Christmas before, to then work on it for a whole year and finish it in January, 365 days ago. It's a beautiful design. It's really, really modern crochet. A great stitch pattern, which I really, really like. I still actually, despite having worn it to work loads, I haven't blocked it post button band. I don't know if I can call it button band when it's got no buttons on it, but all the pieces were blocked and then stitched together, and then I added on the button band and didn't block it again afterwards. And I don't know, there was also a point where I sewed in an end on the wrong way and I could see it. And every time I went for a wee at work and looked in the mirror, I could see this little end that I'd sewn on the outside when it meant to go on the inside. I can't see right now because the lighting in here is awful, but maybe you can, whether or not I actually did that job after the finishing. Regardless of opinion, I think I am calling this my first finished object of 2025 from memory, because I don't actually remember, but it's just the one that springs to mind when, if somebody were to ask me, what were you working on in January of 2025? This is the thing I recall. So that's the Strata Cardigan. I can't remember, I'm sure I've talked about it in podcasts before, but honestly, the yarn is one of my favourite yarns. It works really, really well for crochet. The stitch definition is awesome, and there's very little pilling because it's quite a robust yarn. But I don't wish that to sound like it's tough, as in tough to feel, because actually it's really soft, snuggly and warm. It's just robust in the fact that it doesn't pill as much as, say, a merino would, because this is a blend of like Corridel, and it's either 100% Corridel or it's got some other stuff in it, I can't remember. But it's a really good pattern and the yarn works really well with it, and I highly recommend both. Around the same sort of time, the beginning of last year, I was working on Ducky Fuzz and Fuzzy Duck, two of my own patterns that are crochet garments. They are only related in name, and purely called that because they initially worked with fluffy yarns. I don't have them all here either, but that's okay because I've shown them before. But I just thought I would go and flash them up on screen so you can see what they look like. The first one I don't have because that lives with Amy from Mamie Florrie, who's a yarn dyer and does lots of yarn shows in the UK. I designed Ducky Fuzz specifically with Mamie and Florrie Suri alpaca yarn in mind, but then went on to try it out in different yarns to see what it would look like. So I think the second one I made was, have you got a stain? No, it's a bit of fluff. Cascade 220, which felt a bit thick, but it fits. It's really warm if you want a warm layer. I never wear this though. I don't like it. So I might, if I had the wherewithal, what I would love to do is a whole sample sale, but I just haven't got it in me to do it. So these things just get stored away for a little while. Either they go to a charity shop once I get fed up, or I give them away. So this is one Ducky Fuzz that I made. I mean, it fits really well. It's like an Aran weight yarn. Then, because I loved the Yarnadelic worsted weight yarn in the Strata Cardigan so much, I thought it would look amazing in the Ducky Fuzz top. Unfortunately, this one, I was in denial about meet and gauge. I was saying I was meet and gauge, but actually I was a little bit off. So this one is slightly smaller than it should be in the pattern. The worsted weight yarn is a finer yarn than an Aran, we know that anyway, but again, I kind of pretend that it's the same when I'm determined to make a project that I just desperately want to make. I deny lots of things until the end when I finish it and my brain goes, see, you should have listened to those gut instincts, but you charged on ahead anyway. So it's slightly too small. I'd love it to be not fitted, but it fits, but it's fitted, and I don't want that. I want it to be loose. So I don't like it, and it's an expensive dislike because this is it's reasonably pricey yarn, so I might frog this. So fourth time lucky, I went with Stylecraft Grace for a stripy version, and I really like that one. That one fit beautifully in the size that I made for myself. This is a mohair blend with acrylic and just worked up really quickly. It was fun to do because of all the colourful stripes, and I really like it, yet I don't wear it very often because I just don't do sleeveless very often. despite it being my absolute favourite make of the year and favourite design of the year, I will gloss over Fuzzy Duck, because I have talked about it quite a lot. I wish I could talk about it a bit more, but I'm afraid of boring you, so I will not go over. But I don't know how rude I'm allowed to be on this podcast without sort of saying, you know, without being banned. This is terrible saying, but the label which I got for Christmas one year from Amanda from Queen Ambrosia, I think you just called Queen Ambrosia, who's been doing some fab Instagram reels recently of all her whips and finishing them, which is better than me, because I've done quite a few whips actually. I've completed them this year. Anyway, I had a little label on the back that said, "I didn't F it up." I don't know how offensive I'm allowed to be on YouTube, so I try to refrain from being my usual potty-mouthed self. But whatever. So I can tell what the back of my jumper is. I've got a nice label in it. It was gifted. I got a little collection of different labels for handmade goods, and they all say different things, and stuck one in so I can identify very, very quickly which is the right way around for this jumper. Crochet with mohair, how I love thee. I wish more people loved it like I do, but if you don't, just use like another yarn that's not fluffy. But Fuzzy Duck, I've made 4 fuzzy ducks of varying fuzzinesses, because this crew neck version is not fuzzy, but it is really warm. This is 100% wool. I think last time I claimed that it wasn't. Looked at the label, it is so hot, but that's perfect because this morning it was -2 outside, so we are looking at warm woolly jumpers right now and loving them. My gosh, yes, that's an absolute winner. And if somebody were to say what's your favourite make of the year, it's that. And I want you to make it as well. Please, if you haven't, get the pattern, make it, enjoy it, love it, worship the wool, because it's amazing. Next up, as I did a whole video on this one because it was so exciting, and that is a granny square sweater. There is grannies on the diagonal, and then a knitted waist and cuffs and neckband, which I'd never incorporated the two before. I have actually done that on one of the fuzzy ducky fuzzes as well. I can see now the error of my ways. Why did I name them? Stupid game name. At least I haven't said any swears for that. Look, not the most perfect decreasing at the neckline I've ever seen. I could easily rectify that with some stitches to tighten up a bit. I've worn this a lot to the point when it did actually get quite bobbly, and I've had to like debobble it a little bit. I do have a debobbling machine, but quite often I find it therapeutic just to go around and with my hands, and then create little magic fluff balls. It's a very mindful approach. You could just sit there watching Telly doing the picks. But the reason I think it does this is because a lot of the wool in this project is actually non-superwash merino, and so more likely to pill because it's not been treated chemically. But I actually really like non-superwash merino yarn, so it doesn't bother me. A whole video and a whole blog post, all about this one jumper because I was so excited about it and so happy about it. I saw somebody featuring it on one of their videos only this week, so it must be doing the rounds somewhere. I think Pinterest has a lot to answer for, in a good way, because I've seen that it's been pinned quite a few times. Longest whip ever, and inspired to finish probably by Amanda from Queen Ambrosia, because I don't want to have whips just lingering for ages. And this one I didn't realise. I thought if you'd asked me, I'd started maybe 3 years ago, I think I might have started this jumper maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and it's been sat in a project bag for all that time waiting for me to do the sleeves, because I didn't know how many stitches I wanted to do the sleeves. It smells like Lush perfume because I went into Lush and squirted myself with Karma. I'd had the front and the back done for the longest time, and I'd sort of made it up based on a standard like chunky sweater from I can't remember, We Are Knitters, I think it was, or the other one, Wool in the Gang, I think it was We Are Knitters, had like a standard jumper that they sent me a kit for years ago when they thought I was popular, more popular than I am. And because I didn't follow the pattern precisely and actually adjusted it to fit this slightly chunkier yarn. This is Icelandic yarn, I think it's like Letlopi stuff. Scratchy, but warm as you like. And actually, because I'm not, touch wood, not as sensitive to the itch as I used to be when I was a kid, I can wear this and be the warmest of warm on a winter walk, and honestly love it so much. It's the most basic knitted jumper in the world, and the sleeves took me no time at all when I actually worked out the maths on how to like do a bit of what I started on the cuff and then worked up, increasing as I went, like basing it off this other pattern that I had, but just finagling it as I went to work with the yarn and my body. Finished it on Christmas Eve maybe. There are mistakes. I think there's like a purl where there should be a knit or whatever, the other way around, I don't know. Because I was half in the dark watching Die Hard when I did the neckband, so, and probably had a couple of drinks as well. So I did mess up in a couple of places, but I don't care. I wanted to get it done. That was like it. I wanted to wear it. I wanted to have it ready for Christmas Day. Didn't end up wearing it on Christmas Day, but that's beside the point. It needed to be finished. Potentially the longest whip I've ever had. And I've got one more that's probably been languishing for that long too, which is a crochet sweater that was in Pom Pom Quarterly. And I think as I was making it, it was looking a bit on the small side, so I just put it to one side. So I might have to rip it all back and start again. Or just not make it, but I've got the yarn, you see. Spent £100 on yarn for it. I've got to use it. It's getting a bit dark now, so I'm going to have to speed things along, and I've just spent half an hour deleting loads of stuff from my phone because storage is low. Let's start on accessories, the last things I did for the year of 2025, and then work backwards throughout the year. The very last thing I did is this hat, and it's merino double knit held with a mohair yarn, and it's worked with some short rows, which I have used short rows before, but never really bothered like getting it in my head and having a full understanding of how they work. I suppose I kind of just felt like it was hard work when it's not. It's really easy. And I followed this pattern from Zoe Curtis in her new book, which is released on the 8th of January. And it looks like this, a crochet year it's called. And honestly, if I were to write a book about crochet with crochet patterns, this is the book that I would want to write. I absolutely love it, to the point where actually I'm going to cheat and show you a 2026 FO as well, and that is this hot water bottle cover, and it's because, oh my god, it's gorgeous and I love it. Look at those stitches. This is like a teddy bear. They are just UK treble stitches, which are US double stitches, and unfortunately I did run out and I was unable to complete the hot water bottle cover. And I think this is very much a UK thing, hot water bottles when it's cold, like mine is too outside. When you go to bed, there is nothing better than having a hot water bottle just snuggling against your cold feet. You can't go wrong. Unfortunately, we've now got a new duvet cover, had new windows fitted, and a new boiler, which means our house is much warmer than it was a year ago. So this is almost redundant, but not, because obviously when you've got a tummy ache or a backache, you can also use a hot water bottle to relieve the pain. So I will still use this. It's Zakami Yarn's a boucle that is like super chunky, 80 metres for 100 grams. Wow, I mean, every single piece of yarn is used up in this. There is nothing discarded, no bits thrown away at all. The whole skein is used, and if I had better yarn management, I could have easily have just done those last 2 rows. I think it gets slightly looser as I work towards the top here. So if I'd kept good tension, I would have gained yarn to not lose at Yarn Chicken. You win some, you lose some, it's okay. I've created a fabric here that I just am bowled over by the texture, quite frankly. It's stunning, and that is from hand-dyed yarn, boucle, and a really simple stitch, and it creates just like something like way better than I thought it would ever look. To be honest with you, I was ready to keep the skein as a skein forever and just every now and again hold it, rock it like a baby, and just admire its beauty. But no, I saw the pattern in Zoe's book and went, I've got to make this. I love Zoe's patterns because actually this is the 3rd Zoe pattern I've made this year. Zoe Curtis. She's a designer from the UK and features a lot in Inside Crochet magazine. I made a balaclava, striped balaclava in some 4-ply yarn a couple of months ago as a present for my sister. That's another finished object of 2025. The pattern, a latter issue of Inside Crochet Mag, I can't remember what one, but it's the same issue where I've got Cerberus. It's not called Cerberus in the magazine, was it called Highland Heathers? A houndstooth stitched shawl which I made this year. Not going to talk about that in this video. I will talk about it in another podcast probably, because I've made other ones to go with that in slightly different shapes. But crikey, oh my god, 2 doozies. I'm not going to put the hat on because my hair is up in a what's it and it's not looking too hideous. I cut it recently and I've ballsed it up, so I'm wearing it up a lot at the moment. Don't cut your own hair, folks. Anyway, but do grab a copy of this because wow, it's Quadrille Books. They always do really good books. Recommend. Anyway, let's talk about lots of these. I'm conscious that my phone is chock full of random videos and the storage is getting full. And I have already promised that I wouldn't linger on many of these projects because there's just way too many of them anyway for one video. So when I actually empty the thing or buy more storage, maybe one day I'll come back and be more thorough. If you see something you like, comment about that thing, ask for more information on it, and I can point you in the right direction, and we can go from there. So yeah, if you see something you like, shout out about it in the comments and let me know. Even if you don't want to know like more information about it, just let me know which ones are your faves. Lots of things are falling on the floor. I can't find the colourful bucket hat I made, but this is done really well for 2025. It's a cotton bucket hat. There is a free pattern on my blog for this, and it's like quite a stiff hat. It's not supposed to be flippity floppity or loose. I want it to be like a sun hat, which aren't flippity floppity, they are stiff. So granny bucket hat, that was one of the other projects for the year. Made that ages ago. I'm not exactly working backwards as I thought I might. If I were, I think the thing I finished before the hat was a pair of Mortmain mitts. These are a pattern on Ravelry and Etsy. They were in Inside Crochet magazine as well initially, using a mohair yarn called Onion, I think called Onion and Mohair, which these are the originals, and then I used Sheepius stonewashed and stonewashed minerals to make this pair. These came out slightly bigger, which I'm surprised at. Cotton and acrylic, I think, or merino woolly bits. These I prefer. They've got more movement. These feel quite stiff because they've got that cotton in. Love the colours, but and probably really good for wrist warmers. In that they will be durable. The Mortmain mitts. Really like those actually. That's one pair. He's missing a mate. Don't know where it is. It's in this stuff somewhere. This is nothing other than a work in progress at the moment, because I've made this granny square cowl and it's massive. It's not blocked yet. Way too big, so I need to readdress how I do this. It's too big, isn't it? It's too big. It will stretch a little bit if I wash and block it. So with that in mind, defo chop a row off. And I'm not sure what other adjustments I should make, but it's also quite big that way too. This is 4-ply, mostly Garthenor, left over from my Millis sweater that I designed for Muret magazine a couple years ago. It was just, there was enough of each ball left that it made this cowl, but I did start running out and I lost some colours towards the back as I used everything, every last bit. Needs thinking about to come back to redesign, make better before I can publish it as a pattern. Around the same time this was released. This is the Lerwick cowl. Double knit merino, king cowl, something or other. Lovely yarn actually, really good wool. Warm, cosy, would love a garment out of this. This cowl did not turn out how I wanted it to at all. I had like 3 days to make it, so that meant no time to rip back and change should I want to. When I saw, sometimes when you make something like this, you get to a certain point, you look at it and you go, not working, let's redo, pull it out, start again, change the order of the colours, change the order of the stitches, change the balance. I had no time to do any of that, so it came out looking like this. The colour combo is weird even for me. But the guys at Inside Crochet Magazine were really nice about it, and they didn't go, blur, that looks like thick, get it away from us. They published it. So maybe its beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Maybe because it didn't work how I wanted it to, I am biased. And to somebody who doesn't know what I wanted it to look like, they might go, yeah, do you know what, that's nice. Maybe the colours, you use a different combo, it will come out beautifully. I really wanted it to be different. I can't explain how, but just not this. So I'm working up a new sample, and it will be in like sock weight yarn to see if I can get like more bang for your buck, I suppose. Leave it with me, I'll see what I can do. The principle I love, just the execution ain't great. If even the most random thing, like why couldn't this green be the yellow and the yellow be the green? Why did I do it that way round and not the other? Didn't have time to pull it out and redo it, just had to chuck it all together. That was like released, I think it might still be live now, so we're talking like the last issue of 2025 for Inside Crochet Magazine. Some great patterns in there and a supplementary thingy too for more patterns. I'm getting overexcited now. You can tell, can't you? You can tell. At the end of the year I got excited about bows. Bows were everywhere, so I designed some bows which became a free pattern on the blog. As did around the same time I made some chunky mittens which became a free pattern on my blog. The option for the bows was to do gingham style ones as well, so they are somewhere. I don't have them right here. And bows are now on my radar, so I want to explore that further. Maybe in the winter next year. This year, 2026, sorry. I've got to remember now. Has anyone written the date yet? Have you written 2026 anywhere? I haven't. Bound to go wrong, right, 25. At some point in the latter half of last year, can't remember, I made these. I can't remember the name of the pattern, but they are a knit and crochet combo wrist warmer by Everything Shapes Us that was in like a stash scrap busting book, 52 scrap yarn projects by, I think it's published by Lane. But these ones are 100% crochet because I was too lazy to knit and I didn't actually have the pattern. I just eyeballed and went, I can do that all in crochet. Perfect stash busters if you've got loads of 4-ply sock weight yarn. Really like them. Haven't worn them outside yet, but I could now that it's chilly, but to be honest with you, I wear mittens most of the time. I wear my Bifrost mittens that I made a few years ago, which the pattern is on Ravelry and Etsy. Just so warm. But anyway, if I had cold wrists around the house, I could wear these. Yes, they are glorious. Incorporating bubbles and granny squares, you can't go wrong, can you? I also designed my own wrist warmers. I do not have the full Merrin Mitts wrist warmers. Are these upside down? I don't have the full ones because I gave them away for Christmas. And I'll be working on mittens soon as well, because I definitely want to do mittens for Merrin. Totes crochet. The other ones I gave away have the thumb hole, but I've talked about those quite a lot, so. Oh man, I don't have Barking Mad to show you. Instead I have the Barking Mad cowl, of which I have 2. It's houndstooth stitch on the bias, which I love. The scarf is my absolute favourite. Go and take a look on my blog for the free pattern for the Barking Mad scarf. The blue, just the blue is beautiful. A cobalt blue, electric blue, best blue in the world. My favourite colour is green, but I would bin off any green for that blue. It's that good. It's a spectrum fibre, a spectrum fibre yarn that I bought from a yarn festival ages ago and finally got used to using. I love the bias houndstooth stitch so much I did the cowls and the hats, which are just called Barking Mad as well. It's all Barking Mad. I would again put them on my bunts, but I'm not going to because my hair is up in a what's it. Needless to say, they fit really well. This is made with double knit yarn. This is a merino luxury king cowl, I think it is, and then this is Yarn Smith's merino. Just all of a sudden jumped up to the top of the queue of favourite merino double knits. Not necessarily this colour combo. It's really weird. I don't know what to do with these. I need to maybe sell them, give them away. I don't know. I made a sock in 2025, just one, not 2. I made a sock. I don't know if I shared this, but Anna Nikipirowicz did a sock book that she launched in 2025, so I made a sock, little shorty, out of the Wool Kitchen's zip yarns, which really enjoyed that actually, but now I'm scared I've left it too long, that if I make the second one it's going to look totally different. Scrunchie I made several scrunchies this year, counted them all within that 50 limit. I made a granny, what's it called? Shawl, granny shawl, triangle, stripes. Cannot go wrong. Free pattern on my blog and I love it, and it is very scarfy and warm and perfect. I just love granny stitches, so much so that I also have this and this that incorporates grannies. What should we talk about first? Disco stitches, a scarf, loads of charts for this pattern because it just sort of builds on top of each other, and the easiest way to describe that is just showing step-by-step charting, and then you can see exactly where all the stitches live. But ripples, houndstooth, granny, all my favourite. It's originally called the Discovery of Stitches scarf. I designed it for Curate Crochet, and then afterwards I was allowed to release it myself as a pattern, and I did it in 2 different colourways, one with the colour changing yarn and 2 just changing colour as and when I saw fit myself, which I think works really, really well. Disco stitches. And then I think probably I'll leave it here because I am being shouted at by my phone and I have to go and put a chicken in the oven for dinner. But the Totnes wrap is a granny square wrap scarf thing, which I haven't actually worn enough of this year. I'm going to change that and I'm going to start wearing it. I mean, solid grannies and traditional grannies all stitched together. And I'm going to do a blanket version, maybe in 2026. I might have to push it back to 2027. I don't know. But let's finish the video with this gorgeous granny wrap because, well, why not? And also, let me smush on a video of me talking a couple of weeks ago about some other projects that I had on the go because they were Christmas gifts and I wanted to show you before I gave them away at Christmas time. Yeah, so let me know what you think about all of these. Do you have a favourite? What did you make? Did you make that many or more? Are we talking crochet, knitting? What's on your list for 2025? Let me know. Oh God, I'm looking, it goes storage low, tap to manage. I've tried that several times and I've deleted loads and you're still shouting at me? What? So anyway, today is the 19th of December and I don't think I've missed the postal deadline. So I have some things to post and some Christmas things that I have made. And I don't want to not show you them, so I'm just popping by, a bit out of breath and bunged up, red streamy eyes. Delightful. Because I couldn't let it be missed that I've also made these things. So to start with, and actually I did not make these in 2025, I think I made them last year, but it's a pair of leg warmers for my mum for Christmas because she gets cold legs and she says things like, oh, don't worry, just don't make something for me especially, just give me whatever you have, it's fine. And I'm not sure she's always telling the truth when she says that. She might want something made especially. Last year, for example, I made a granny square blanket and she had said, just give me any of your old blankets, it's absolutely fine. But I wanted something that was going to go with the house. So last Christmas I made her a granny square blanket and I know she loves it. And this year I'm afraid that it is a deep dive into my sample stash because I don't have the time to make a pair of leg warmers and I didn't have the yarn in house to make these. I think it's called Pom Pom Garland, which is a cotton blend with something else and it's got a halo on it. It's from Hobby, but I think designed by the guys behind Pom Pom magazine, if I recall. I haven't looked it up, but that's from memory. I'm pretty sure it's like some sort of collaboration. The yarn itself is really nice actually. It's a bit on the pricey side. But this is a design I came up with for Inside Crochet magazine. It was featured a few issues ago, like last winter. And it's just rows of yarn over slip stitches, and then I did a camel stitch border. I have not released the pattern, but I do plan on doing so
soonish, but I would like to be able to get my hands on more yarn and also maybe play around with other yarn brands to see what substitutes might fit. But I did elastic around the ankles with the idea that this camel stitch border would go around the calf and they'd be a bit slouchy. In the photographs though, I think they're photographed up the wrong way, so that the elastic is around the calf. And I understand why, it's to hold them up, but I wanted them to I want them to fall down and be a bit slouchy. It's something I'll explore later on. But for now, Christmas present for Mother, in a colour that probably isn't very her. But she's only going to wear them around the house, so I don't think it matters too much. She's not going to be doing exercise classes in public. They're just for, not even for exercise, they're just for hanging around so that she doesn't get chilly. And then, just because I made it and I want to show it, this is a cotton market bag. My own pattern, the Granny Market bag, which is on Etsy and Ravelry. And I did it all in one colour. This is all, it's like 3.5 balls of cotton yarn that you can get in Sostrine Green. My first trip to Sostrine Green, I bought brown yarn and green yarn, and the brown became this market bag, which will be a present. I get rid of hairs, and also I don't know why my hair gets everywhere, and I haven't sewn in the last end, so I better do that at some point before it gets wrapped and gifted. Let's pop it there. And also I may be giving this as a gift, and I haven't decided if I'm willing to let it go yet. I think probably I should sacrifice it, gift it to somebody that I know will appreciate it. But it's a cowl, and this one is made out of alpaca held with a merino sock weight yarn, I think. And then I did talk about it once before, but I only just started, and I used Cascade Heritage, like a fingering weight yarn, with Drops alpaca silk, brushed silk in a chocolate brown colour as a contrast. But I made that because I wanted to do a fluffy project. But this actually is the original. This is just 4-ply on its own, which is glorious. I love this one. The green is gorgeous. It's my favourite. Not being gifted, and I haven't released it as a pattern yet, just because charts, making sure it's written properly. Just haven't got round to it. I'm struggling. I've got to start work in a minute. I'm working from home today though, so hopefully it's not going to be too arduous. Although I am tempted to just say I'm too poorly. I'm calling in sick, and I've got an emergency dentist appointment. Anyway, the reason I'm coming on today to share these projects is not only it's just like, look at the other things I've made, but this one is what I wanted to show off before it goes in the post, because I think it's so cute. It is for my niece, and it's a little bonnet made out of granny squares, and this is winged, completely made up as I've gone along. I've not got a pattern for this. It is granny squares that have like bobbles in the round, which are gorgeous. Really, really like this granny square. I've seen a granny square like this online and basically reverse engineered it from a photograph. Nothing's written down. I just saw what it looked like and thought, I know what I can do to replicate that. And so I've made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 granny squares, and then I've mattress stitched them all together to create this bonnet. I used 2 balls of Drops cotton merino, which I think is a double knit. I've had it in stash for the longest time, and I was just about to get rid of it actually, before I thought it would make a really good bonnet for a toddler because it's got the wool in it, which is super warm, but it's not going to be scratchy because of the cotton. And I thought that would be ideal. But it did mean that I was limited to the amount of yarn. So there's no elaborate border. It's just a couple of rows of single crochet, double crochet for UK peeps. I think I did the squares, then did a row of grannies to cohesively join it all together, then ended it with it looks like 2 rows of single crochet. And then that was around the head bit, and then trying to be economical with the yarn, bearing in mind I won at Yarn Chicken, but it was touch and go. The bottom has a couple more rows of just plain stitches, and I think I used half double UK, no, half trebles UK, so that's half doubles in US terms. Did a few rounds of that, and then for one of those rounds I could chain 1, miss a stitch to create little holes so I could thread the ribbon and then tie it. And my biggest paranoia is that somebody's going to like strangle themselves with this, so I'm going to have to talk to my sister and make sure that she's not left alone. Not my sister, my niece. Make sure my niece is not left alone with the ribbon. She'll be absolutely fine. They're very sensible people with lots of common sense. But isn't it so cute? I don't know if I want a grown-up version. It would be awesome, but I don't know how to do it so that it fits perfectly. This might end up being too big. I mean, is that going to... I think it's for a 2-year-old, and it looks like it would fit probably a 6-year-old. Doesn't it? I can't do it. I can't try it on because it's too small for me. I don't have a balloon or I've got a... Oh no, I haven't. I was going to put it on a teddy bear panda thing, but he's got a small head, so that would be stupid. In an ideal world, I probably would have been able to make this longer and then bring it around the chin so that I didn't have to have the ribbon. But actually, I think the ribbon looks really pretty, so whatever. This is the one that's going to go in the post, and I'm going to cross my fingers that it fits. However, as an experiment, I also did just 4 squares per side, without like the 3-dimensional structure of the other ones going at the back and the top, as is the other one. And then yeah, I did do but this one fit my 12-year-old, so I knew it wouldn't fit a 2-year-old, so I've abandoned this one. This is Yarnsmith's double knit merino, and same granny square. Where is it? With an extra round, I think. So maybe if I hadn't done the extra round, this one would have fit. But it's all freestyling. I've no idea. I wasn't following a pattern, so I don't actually know. So maybe I need to have a play around and experiment, but I don't actually. And if I were to gift this one, it's a horrible peach colour. It's really pale, and I bought it not knowing it had peachy tones. I thought it was going to be a neutral shade like a parchment, and actually it's too peachy because I wanted it to be a neutral colour for a blanket, and I bought loads of it, and actually it's not what I want at all. So I'm going to have to use this in other projects for other people, so I don't have to see it ever again, or I just give it away. Give away the rest of the yarn. I think I've probably got about 4 or 5. How many balls did this take? I don't know if this was 2 or 3. But whatever, I've still got several balls left, and I don't want it, so I'm going to have to use it in other things. I've got some dye. I could dye it, but it doesn't. See if it fits me. Oh no. It's not very chic, is it? Oh. it's a reject. I don't know what to do with it. If you've got any suggestions, please let me know. Finally, I've got until Christmas Day to finish this hat. So it's in my I put it in my library. It's a free Ravelry pattern that you can download. It's called the Slouchy Beanie by Doris Linder. It's for double knit yarn, and I'm using navy. Nearly there, nearly there, nearly there. I've done the slow bit. And now I'm just like knitting in the round, around and around and around and around. And actually, not gonna lie, I find knitting quite boring sometimes. Maybe that's why I love crochet, because I find it more entertaining. It's quicker to do, which helps. But maybe it's time to start doing stuff that is not just knitting. It's got stitch patterns and things like that, but I don't know how to learn how to do different things. I mean, I guess I just find a pattern and try it. Whether or not that's maybe I was thinking about some sweaters where they've got different shaping as a start, but maybe I should just throw myself in the deep end and do something that I think looks difficult, but other actual real knitters, experienced knitters, maybe I should try something like the ranunculus sweater, which it sounds like a Marmite jumper. Lots of people like it, lots of people hate it, but you can make it really quickly because it's done in big yarn, and seems challenging for an inexperienced knitter, but if it's easy for those that have been knitting for years, maybe it's a good project to tackle. Are there other knitting projects that I could tackle that would be interesting but not too tricky? Because I've never knit anything other than just normal knit pow, knit pow, knit pow. It's all I know how to do. Anyway, I need to do this by Christmas Day. I'm using a navy blue double knit cotton. No, not cotton. It's wool, 50-50 wool, 50 wool, 50 acrylic. So it'll have longevity and be wearable. Anyway, I'm going to probably start work soon. So I've got to stop that. Whilst the skies go dark, I'm now going to say goodbye. And I'll be back soon to talk about whips and other things that I've been making and things that I didn't have time to talk about today. Let's hope that 2026 is a bit better than 2025. I think you can agree it was a bit of a weird one. We'll fill it with crochet, knitting, sewing, wool, food, good TV and friends and all of that jazz, and try not to think about all the bleak stuff. I hope you are well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye. Oh, mother trucker. Be more careful. Right, Biskins. Love you.